First, a visual description. I'm a petite white woman in my mid-20s with medium-length brown hair, and I'm holding a fabulous bedazzled white cane that's sparkly silver with a rainbow bottom. As a teenage girl with a disability, I struggled desperately with self-esteem and self-worth. It's never easy being 13, but add on to it being the only blind kid at my school, and I didn't know how to be okay with who I was. Fortunately, research shows that physical activity, especially school-based physical activity, can positively impact self-esteem and self-worth, and I happen to be enrolled in physical education class. Instead, after I was hit twice in the face with soccer balls, my teacher warned me that if it happened again, I'd have to sit out the rest of the year. That was the end of my relationship with movement. I believed my education, that I couldn't do sports because I was blind, and I wasn't alone. 81% of disabled people do not feel welcome in fitness spaces. The first time I met other disabled people my age was in university. I joined a campus disability advocacy group, and for the first time in my life, I belonged. I also learned about adaptive fitness and parasports, methods of exercising and competing that are adapted to various disabilities. When legislation came up to the state Congress proposing an adaptive sports league for disabled school children, I testified on its behalf and rallied grassroots support until it passed 2 years later. By the time I left college, I had discovered blind pride, disability justice, and advocacy. But my relationship with movement had never recovered. And again, I wasn't alone. Disabled British adults are twice as likely as their non-disabled peers to be sedentary. In the US, over 2/3 of disabled Americans get no or too little exercise. This is a global crisis. I joined Unilever in 2020 as a marketer, and a year into the job, I heard that a brand team was interested in spotlighting the disability community, and it happened to be the world's largest deodorant brand. Depending on where you're from, you might know them as Rexona, Shore, Degree, or Shields. I joined the team as a disability marketing consultant. I helped shape our strategy to ensure we were authentically serving the community, and I checked all our press releases to ensure we were using disability-affirming language. We published a letter in the New York Times calling on the fitness industry to be more inclusive. We developed an online web portal for hiring disabled trainers, created an online inclusion toolkit for gyms, and even held an adaptive spin class in the middle of Manhattan. We reached over 1 billion people with this campaign and brought thousands to our educational webpage, teaching the world about adaptive fitness. And this campaign is what finally made me reflect on my movement habit, or rather, the lack thereof. I read about an adaptive climbing group and decided to give it a try. I climb with a sighted guide who stands on the ground and gives me directions through a headset. And in this adaptive, supportive environment, I thrived. I climbed once a week, then twice a week. I went to nationals and joined the US national rock climbing team. And 6 weeks ago, I was in Switzerland, competing in the World Championships and placing second within my category. Access matters. It's the difference between an anxious kid avoiding PE and an international elite athlete. And it hasn't stopped there for me. 6 months ago, I got talked into trying to train for a triathlon. 5 weeks ago, I was at triathlon camp at the US Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. And 3 weeks ago, I finished my first race at the USA Paratriathlon National Championships. Education does not start and end with school. Each of us has the power to teach our communities about adaptive fitness. You can be the one to bring the inclusion toolkit to your neighborhood gym and advocate for it. Be the one to join your local adaptive fitness group, and if one doesn't exist, create it. Share the stories of disabled athletes, not out of shock at their ability, but to teach the next disabled teenager how others have moved before her. Movement is a fundamental right, and each of us has the power to unlock the potential of disabled children and adults around the world.